ambitious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got around the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Deadline Day special. Thank you all for being with us. We've made the effort, as we do on Deadline Day. Mick doesn't have a yellow tie. Danny doesn't have a smart yellow shirt. But we make do. The effort is still there. Mick has a Rotherham tie. Thank you very much, Mick.
It's all right. I'm in the
You're one of us that looks natural in a suit.
Can't say it's because I'm old.
We will go through all the transfer notices. There has been a signing on Deadline Day. There is a signing hopefully due. Our plan is to stay on until that signing is either confirmed one way or another. I could see a 2-hour. So if you are anybody from the club is watching, just please announce it. Please announce it so whenever we need to, we can go to bed, to be honest with you. It's school night. And we'll go through any rumours that happen throughout the day. Not as many as I was anticipated, to be honest with you. But we are where we are. Mick, how are you doing for this Deadline Day special?
Yeah. Top of the world, mate. Absolutely top of the world, as you can tell.
You seem it. Yeah, you sound I can hear the buzz in your voice.
Yeah, something like that.
Danny, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, thank you. Doing very good. I've tried to make an effort. Couldn't find a shirt upstairs. So, yeah, you're getting the nice polo shirt. But at least I've done my top button up, so...
Well, you've got 8 months left until the next Deadline Day. So we've got time to plan for that.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got loads of you with us. What I will say, first of all, if you're joining for the first time, welcome. Please do subscribe on YouTube. This will be just a video, YouTube only, an audio podcast, this one. Because, like I said, it could be a 2-hour thing where we just end up talking about some stuff. So please do subscribe. If you haven't done already, we're creeping up to our target, next target 900. Bailey Vernon says he loves an emergency pod. Carl Scott, Powerman UK, Tobias is with us, Joshua Harvey, Thomas Spooner, John S. John S says, I've been dreaming of we signed 6. Not yet. Are we up to 5?
No, we're up to 6.
Are we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it could be 7.
Yes, it could be 7, yeah.
It could be 8 or 9 before end at night, lads.
Well, yeah. There's a few other rumours going through which we will go on. Our phones are switched on to Twitter. The notifications are switched on. Mm-hmm. So if anything comes out through the official channels, we will know about it at the same time you. The same as you will, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it as a group and we'll get through it together, won't we, Mick? Yeah?
Yes, we will. We will. Did you type out the banner that's running across the bottom there then, Matt? I
did in haste. Why?
Yeah, I just wondered whether you'd counted how many names you'd typed.
No, I just typed. I went on Transfer Market and just typed in what it told me to type.
5 already.
Regular listeners to the show will know that's about our how much our research goes into a show. Power UK says it could be 8. Yeah, it could. Chris Tether and Dave Lawton are with us. Merely Click says, nice to the yellow tie out. Yes, it is. Best £7 I've ever spent for this podcast. Top quality. What make is it? The Thai GU style, whatever that means.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Let's see where we go. Ad hoc says Sunderland confirmed Bailey Wright to Rotherham on loan until the end of the season. Danny, that's where we'll start. Bailey Wright joins. Now, this seems to be almost not a swap, obviously, but to cover for Sean Morrison, essentially. Sean Morrison looks like the injury is fairly bad, which we'll find out probably on Thursday with a pre-match presser from Matt Taylor. But he seems to bring similar levels of experience, maybe not as much, because Sean Morrison was one of the most experienced players in the Championship, but very, very good levels of experience at this club.
Yeah, it is, and he's a player who's coming who will add, like I said, the experience at the back. He's almost like an Australian version of Richard Wood. Because he's even got the broken nose to boot as well.
I know it's that.
But it could be a case of, I'm not sure, someone will have to check the history books for this, but is this the first World Cup international player that we've signed from another club? Because I know that Martinez eventually went to play at the World Cup. I think there was a guy who played for Wales in '58, I think. But Wright was in the Australia squad for the last World Cup, so that could be a first for Rotherham United. That's signing a World Cup international player. All right, it's on loan.
Might be.
But yeah, it's I think it is core for Morrison's injury. Like you say, he's not quite as experienced, at least at this level, as Morrison is, but he still adds that level-headedness and actually a bit of a familiar face for Jordan Hugill as well. So we've got a nice little link up between top and bottom there. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very strong addition. Competition for a place when Morrison hopefully comes back into the fold will be quite tight. But for the time being, it'll certainly do a massive job for us.
Yeah, it will. Mick, I would only say maybe Emlyn Hughes. Did he play in a World Cup before he came to us?
Yeah, I think he did. I think
that
he
might
did.
be it then. That's a long time ago.
And quality player as well, obviously, Emlyn Hughes. But listen, this is a good signing. There's no doubt about it. Highly experienced again. So as a guide, you do look at what other supporters say about the players, and Sunderland are not best pleased, or some of the fans are not best pleased that they've let him go, even as just having as a player around the first team squad and in the dressing room. So it's a good signing. It's a good signing for us, and it's disappointing that we've had to make it, to be honest.
Of course,
but it would appear. And it's not been announced yet. There's been no announcement of any injury to Sean Morrison. We're all still making that assumption that is the case. But this kind of sort of seals that rumour, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I would imagine they'd be waiting for scans and stuff. The scans would have been a Monday, Tuesday, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I would have thought so. Well, on Tuesday, so I imagine that's why. I think Billy Wright said in his talk, it was maybe yesterday evening, I think, was when the talk started. So that's probably when the news came through, confirmation really of Sean Morrison.
Yeah.
This is all assumptions. There we go. I'll just tick off this thing here. Josh Hinchcliffe says Chio is going to Millwall fee accepted earlier.
I think Josh is that's a tongue-in-cheek comment from Josh there.
Yeah, well, if anybody thinks it is, it's that the guy who tweeted that out shortly deleted his Twitter account. I have seen another Millwall journal say that they are done. They're done for the night. There's no business at the Millwall end, so there's no issue with Chio going to there. Swansea, I think, have bought somebody else, and I can't remember who, but I think Swansea have made a signing as well, so it won't go in there either. There are no suggestions of any major outgoings. There is a suggestion that Tom Eaves may go somewhere on loan, but that's a big might. So, there's not much behind that really yet, as far as I'm aware. But we will have to wait and see. We are waiting on a signing, Danny. The guy from Watford. I'm going to let you have first crack at pronouncing his name. To be honest with you,
Thank you.
As a budding journalist. That fella from Watford.
Yeah, we'll call him that. That fella from Watford who's been on loan out somewhere else. Is it Quina? Is that how you say it? Quina, something like that.
I would. That's my guess. If I had to guess, that's what I'd go for.
What Quina or Quinia?
Mick,
What?
thoughts?
Listen, he looks an exciting player, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks a properly exciting player, and one that the type of player that we don't sign at Rotherham United traditionally. So, I mean, it's really exciting for me. If it does happen, it's probably, I think, the most exciting out of the lot. If we can get it over the line without wanting to use that phrase, yeah, he looks very, very exciting. I do like the look of him. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it happens, and it happens hopefully sometime in the next 10 or 15 minutes, to be honest. So I'm going to bed.
On Bailey Wright, Jack McCord, and Sean Gundy, he did say that Bailey Wright is cover for Morrison on his announcement. But again, we don't know the severity of that. So it could be just a few weeks. It's not going to be, I don't think. But I suspect on Thursday in the press we'll find out a bit more information about that. Mick, Portuguese players for Rotherham United.
Yeah.
Have we had any?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And I would be aware of them because they spend most of the time rolling about on floor, don't they?
Ronnie signed that. Jose Miranda in 90s.
Well, he's Portuguese?
I don't know. Well, it sounds Portuguese or Brazilian, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Or Spanish, to be honest. So I'm not that I'm aware of, but I don't know. Hopefully, this lad's not your typical Portuguese footballer, but we'll have to wait and see. But he's got some good pedigree, hasn't he? And if he's been playing at Lecce, which are they in the second division at the moment?
No, the Liga, Elche.
The Liga. I mean, that is some level. Quite why you'd want to come from there to Rotherham is. It's something I can't quite get my head around, but I've never been to Lecce, so perhaps it's not the maybe it's the Rotherham of Spain.
Possibly. Jose Mirandina was Portuguese.
There you go.
According to Google. He played 3 games. He lost 4-0 to Bradford, drew 1-1 to Norwich, and lost 2-0 to Forest. And then I think he got found out.
Right, fair enough.
So not the first one. I got Sarah Ogden says Earl John, was he Portuguese? Don't know. We've got time to Google stuff. I know he was St. Lucian.
Although, could we say that Quina or however it's going to get pronounced, could be the first Guinea-Bissau born player to play for Rotherham?
I would assume that to be true.
Mm.
If that's not true, then if somebody's got that in comments, then you deserve a
that'd be a proper pub quiz question, isn't it? If there's another player who's from Guinea-Bissau who played for Rotherham,
we'd like that.
But he, like I say, he is Portuguese international. So
has he played for international team?
Or at least that's his international commitment is to Portugal.
Right, got you.
But he was born in Guinea-Bissau.
Fair enough.
Philip Hawes mentions Bob Delgado from. I think he played in the 80s. Bob Delgado. I mean, he comes from a country that whose national team play in red, but he's Welsh. Was Bob?
He is. I did see the comment Bob Delgado. I thought it was making names up. To be honest with you,
he was a good player. I really liked him. Top lad.
Okay. Chris Taylor says Al Shah bottom of the league with 0 wins, 6 draws, 13 losses. No wonder he wants out. He's not played many games. I think he's only played 12 or 13 games, something like that. Not
the 13 that they lost.
Possibly, very possibly. More relevant, I would say. Nicholas Skidmore says he's got a friend who's a Barnsley fan. Said he had him in the Championship. So exciting to watch. He can beat a player, he beat his man, lazy off the ball. That seems great going forward. Sorry. And I listened to Matt Taylor's interview earlier tonight, Danny. That's sort of what he's almost looking for. A bit of unpredictability. You know, with the players we've got, you know what you're getting. Dan Barlas was an amazing football. You know exactly what you're going to get. Ollie Rathbone, you know what you're going to get. There's no real X factor in the team at the minute, really. And this is what this guy maybe will bring, a bit of something different.
Yeah, with his interview that the club put out just before the Bailey Wright one, you can tell it's just from the same interview. They've just zoomed in a little bit. But yeah, he talks about a midfielder who's just got a different dynamic, and I can't remember who posted it, but they shared some clips of his time at Barnsley and how unpredictable he is in front of the box and in midfield, but like unpredictable in a good way. You know, he's like he's not very easy to work out, but if you've got him in your team, he's an asset. Like there was a run he went on right in front of the Barnsley box and proper danced about with the ball, led the defenders astray, and then had a shot, a goal, and scored. So if that's the sort of unpredictability we have potentially coming to us, if everything gets sorted, it will be a good asset in the Championship, because the Championship doesn't like unpredictability in a squad. They like to be able to go, right, they're going to play that way, and that's how we beat them. But if we've got a bit of that, it'll be very interesting.
Well, we've already got a bit of that with the likes of Ollie Rathbone. He is an unpredictable player. I know on the face of it, you know what you're going to get from Ollie. He's going to run around. He's going to rat about. He's going to cause problems, and he's going to kick people's ankles. But there's more to his game. There's a lot more to his game that's almost hidden at times. He can pick a pass. He can pick a goal out. He can pick that top corner. You've got Chio again, who's another player that is unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. So, but there is also on the flip side of that, again, Ollie Rathbone. It's we've got it already, and to add to that with some flair would be great. And you've got to bear in mind as well, we don't know how Conor Coventry is going to adapt to the team, to playing in the Championship. Foster, we've not seen a great deal of. Obviously, he's only played one game, but again, he looks a tricky player. So the quality is it's fantastic. I think anyway, in terms of the bodies that have come through the door so far, and if we get this lad, that just kind of puts cherry on top for me.
Yeah, it does. Let's look at the sort of negatives, though, Danny. And I would rather be United and we're football fans, so we've got to find some sort of negative. It'll put us onto 6 loans. 6 loanees. You're only allowed 5 in a match day squad. So one of those loanees is going to miss out every single week. Now, there are circumstances. For example, Grant Hall can't play against Middlesbrough. Bailey Wright won't be able to play against Sunderland. There are certain games such as that where that's not going to cause too much of a problem. But it is going to cause some headaches, because it's all right saying you've got a squad of whatever it might be, 25. Well, you've got a squad of 24, really, because one of them's not available every time, which is not really ideal, is it?
No, not really. I suppose it adds a little bit of rotation into the team, but like you say, someone is going to miss out on the match day squad, which is going to be tough to take. But just to sound really brutal for a second, it's sort of played into our favour that we've got that after January, so clubs can't actually recall the players. Yeah. So it's a bit of it, but they're still coming here to play, and obviously it is going to be on a rotation purpose. For example, like you say, Grant Hall can't play against Middlesbrough, and he might not be able to play every single game. And then it's also a bit of cover for injuries as well. If there's a bit of an injury in midfield, for example, with Wiles, we've still got that cover there. But yeah, with some of the loans, it's a bit, that's going to be a head scratcher, innit? Like, because the prospect is we could have a 7th loan as well, maybe. So yeah, it's big headache. But like we say, someone or maybe 2 is going to have to miss out on a match day of plays, which is a shame. But
so you saying we could get 2 more loanees tonight?
Maybe.
Oh, here we go. Whispers. Danny Ogden-Glave's sources are telling him that there might be 2 signings.
Maybe. Maybe.
We'll
Danny, you should be stood outside New York Stadium.
So, funny, I was told that that was mentioned on the last podcast when I wasn't here. But,
it was.
But I'd much rather be at home where it's warm.
Yeah. Well, in this weather, yeah.
Yeah.
Away.
And you won't be able to hear me for the wind anyway.
That's true.
I'll save that for a bit later on in my journalism career when I'm stood outside, I don't know, St James's Park somewhere.
Yeah. RC says you'd hope a few of the ones we have come in, we've got first refusal, or at least had a conversation with keeping them afterwards. Yeah, I would have thought so, but you've got to assume that if we're not in Championship, most of them will not stay. To be honest with you, you will see a massive upheaval of players in the summer if we go down. But that's the Championship. Well, that's football for you, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's how it works, Mick, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, ultimately, the quality that we brought in this window is way in excess of any of the teams around us, far in excess. And for me, we had enough quality in our squad to stay up anyway. I think we didn't have the depth. I fully accept that. But with everybody fit, I think we had enough quality, and all we've done is added to that. So, in terms of the lone players in the team, I mean, at the moment, I would argue that Grant Hall's not going to get his place back, assuming that the Wright is match fit. He would just slot in next to Cameron Humphreys in place of Morrison. Grant Hall will play a couple of games. When he does get his chance, he'll be injured, and that'll solve the loan problem, won't it? So, unfortunately for him, that seems to have been the pattern of his Rotherham United career so far, doesn't it? So, there's no reason to think that won't continue.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, there were Harry Fiorski says Football Insider reporting that a deal is done for Quina. Yeah, the rumours are it's done, essentially done. The Athletic are also reporting that it's just waiting on Elche to cancel the deal. I don't know. I don't really understand how there's so many different types of loans you can have that have to be terminated in certain different ways. It's just crazy. But I don't foresee a problem. But we're not sitting here saying we spoke to somebody at club who's given us secret information. I just don't see that to be a problem. Josh Winkle said he's done his medical in Spain. Yeah, he's done his medical in Spain because he's already over there. And then I assuming everything's ticked off, he will then come over. I assume in time for Saturday's game. I assume. I don't know how his match fitness is. I don't know if there were rumours he'd taken a knock recently. So whether that's slowing the medical down. It'd be very Rotherham United for him to fail a medical in another country, wouldn't it?
Have La Liga not just come back from their winter break?
This week just gone?
Yeah, I think so. I might be wrong on that, but I've not seen any La Liga games over the past few weeks. So, but there were some over the weekend. So maybe he's not going to be match fit and up to speed yet. But that's not really an issue for us at the moment, is it?
What, match fitness or injury?
Yeah. For the players coming in, with the exception of the injury to Morrison, it's not as though we're struggling at the moment in any particular position, injury-wise, are we?
No.
Just up front is where we've been light, but not due to injuries, really. Well, I'll let's rewind that because obviously Eves and Georgie are out injured, but you know what I mean. We could field a very strong side.
Yeah. We'll do the standard preview show on Thursday evening, obviously Friday morning for the podcast, previewing the Sheffield United game, all that sort of stuff. Let's talk about the window in general. Terry Fenby says finally good transfer window in January. Finally good transfer window in January. Who can't be mentioned hold us back or has done his job up in his wallet? This is the problem we've got by not saying people's names. It gets me all up in a muddle. Now is the time to assess the window, Danny. We didn't do it on the last episode. We're not doing the last episodes because we still were sort of waiting and we still didn't know. We now basically know what our transfer window looks like. So we can now start saying credit or not, Tony Stewart and the recruitment team. How much credit do they deserve and praise do they get for getting these type of players in?
Oh yeah, a lot of praise. I think this has been one of the busiest Januaries we've had in recent memory. There's been times where we've signed maybe 1, 2, sometimes none. Yeah, bringing in this sort of quality. It's a nice mix of experience to youth. You know, we've got like Fozu and Yelder and where your youth and like really up for it with game time, and you've also got the experience coming in at the at the back and at the front, which I think is something we've lacked quite a bit in the past championship seasons. And it's those sort of experiences that can keep you up, but also the unpredictability of some of the younger players can also help out where they can as well. But yeah, I think the recruitment's done massively well this January window. Props to them and to the management team for selling the club to those players as well, because I know we said it about the last guy, but Matt Taylor's obviously fielded them at the prospect of playing for the club at least till the end of the season in Hugo's case for a longer period, and they've thought, yeah, we can have a piece of that, which is great, and props to Taylor.
Yeah. Peter O'Rourke's reporting that Rotherham have now agreed a deal with Domingos Quina. We're going Quina after his loan was cancelled at Elche. Still nothing confirmed by the club, but Peter O'Rourke is pretty spot on, to be honest with you. If he says it, it's 9 times out of 10 true, to be honest with you. One of the few ones who normally gets it spot on. So we will keep an eye on that. Our notifications for the club are on. So, like I say, when we hear of it, you will as well. Terry Fenby says the team will be almost unrecognisable, Mick. And you go back to the Ipswich game, and it's going to be almost a different team. None of these players are coming at that point.
What surprises me more than anything else, Matt, is that you were able to read that message out, but not the one that were out earlier that had proper English in it. But that's no offence to Terry, because it's obviously a spell check issue. But it won't be. If you went back to pre-World Cup, it would be a completely different team. I just hope that we continue to play with the same intensity, whatever the change in personnel is. The method of playing may well change slightly, but it's all about that intensity in this division. And if you can play at that level, but with the quality that we've brought in, it is a fantastic combination for Championship football, I think. So it's looking great. It really is looking good. Even if we don't get anyone else, if Bailey Wright ends up being the final signing in this window, which we hope and probably feel is not going to be the case, but if it is, I am more than satisfied with it. More than satisfied.
Yeah. J-Boy says, we'll feel sorry for his grandma. She struggles to remember the players' names we have now. Never mind adding another 6.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Never mind your grandma, J-Boy. I'm the same, and I have to talk on here. Bring her on.
Yeah.
Give me a bit of company.
Terry Fensby, all praise to the backroom boys for the hard work. Yeah, agreed. I can't find the comment now, Danny, but this has now... Let's talk about Matt Taylor, how this affects Matt Taylor. He's been able to bring in his players, potentially set up to 7 signings, maybe up to 8, as you mentioned, maybe. Where that puts a bit of pressure on Matt Taylor, because there's now no excuses, really. These are his boys, aren't they, really?
Yeah, these are the signings Matt Taylor wanted to make. And yes, there has just been an update from the club. They've used the old clip of John Breckin at Hillsborough, the Breckin cam. Pizza update finally out for delivery.
Oh, there we go. So we'll keep an eye on that, because that means I've got some ready for this. I've got breaking news, a tweet from the club.
Brilliant.
Oh, we've gone full Sky Sports news today. Breaking news and everything.
Yeah, so that's proper tickle me. Oh, we're good. That. But yeah, these are the signings Matt Taylor wants to make. These aren't the signings that he's inherited. These are the ones where he's seen where he needs to plug holes, and this is what he's going to use to plug the holes. And yeah, I think he's done really well with it. Obviously, we've lost one as well. Barlas has gone to Middlesbrough, and hopefully this new midfielder coming in will be able to replace at least a little bit of what Barlas has offered in midfield. But yeah, I'm very impressed with Taylor's business this window. I think he's done exceptionally well.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've got a comment here, Mick, that I want to look at as well, because I agree with this as well. Very impressive window. It worries me with the amount of players going back in loans and contracts expiring. It's a very short-term set of signings. Now, some people may be old enough, like me, to remember back in when we had the 10-point deduction. What was his name? Alan Mill was manager, And at the start of the season, they signed a load of really, really, really good players. But they all had break clauses that if we went, because of the 10-point deduction, if we went down, they all had essentially free exits. And I remember that we got a 10-point gap, was smashed really, really quickly. We were looking really good. And then when things started to turn, there was no turning back. And now that may be a slight Alan nil. I don't think it is, because he's shown himself to be a very, very good coach.
Yeah.
The question is, what's the incentive for short-term loans and short-term contracts? If things do start going badly, then they're not here for the long term. They don't see the consequences of what they're going to do. So, thoughts on that, really?
We've got a short-term plan at the moment, and the short-term plan is to stay in this division, and that is clearly the focus of where the club is at the moment. We don't know the sort of background to any of these signings, whether there's likely to be any potential permanent signings from at the end of the season, but it gives us that option to explore that. But the absolute key to this is making sure that we have enough quality in this squad to keep us in this division. Because if it does, obviously, it gives us far more pulling power come the summer transfer window, so we can then start to kick on. It's not great. It's not great, but it's where we are, and to be fair, it's far better than anybody expected of Rotherham United in this transfer window. Far better. Yeah. Even the most optimistic supporter, I don't think, could have, if you'd have told them that we'd be sitting here on transfer deadline day, having done the business that we've done and hoping for another top quality player coming in, I don't think they'd have believed you, and I don't think I would, to be honest. It's been absolutely outstanding, but yes, it is a short term thing, really, because of the number of loans. But I'm sure the plans will be in place, as they were on the run up to this transfer window. Quite clearly, I'm sure the plans will be in place now for the summer and what we're looking for next season, assuming that we're able to stay up. And I genuinely think we're going to stay up comfortably. I do. I'll nail my colours to the mast now. We've got enough. We had enough. We've now got far more.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Shelley IFC says 1-0 to Luton. Cardiff Luton's tonight. Luton have just taken an 89th minute lead, which is brilliant.
Well, it is, and to be fair, much as I've got nothing against Cardiff, they sent us down in 80th minute last time in Championship. So, let's hope they get a few more 89th minute defeats.
Yeah. Andy Giddins understand reports of Rotherham United attempts to sign Watford's Domingos Quina are correct. Watford required international clearance to get the player recalled from Elche before subsequent planned move to New York Stadium. So it's an international sign. This when you're at Championship and you're big time and you start signing players from abroad, these are the complications that come with it.
Which we know all about. Obviously, being a Championship side.
Obviously, we are one every other year, so we do know these things. To be fair, Danny Shelley wants to know: has there been a better transfer window for Rotherham United? It's tough to think of, isn't it?
In terms of overall impact they had in the end, I could say when we signed Crooks in whatever January transfer window that was.
4 years ago.
Might have been. 2019. So that was a good one. But in terms of busyness, I can't really remember one where we've signed, 6 players, confirmed 6 players this transfer window. Like, fair enough, it's only trying to do the quick maths in my head. So Scott and I got sent back. Norton Cuffy got recalled. Barlasser went. Bowler went. Cart went. Who else has gone, or is that it so far?
I think that's it.
So we've lost 5 effectively, and we've brought 6 in. So we've only added 1 body to squad size, which isn't too bad. But in terms of quality it's added, it's been very good and one of the best ones I've seen for a while.
Yeah. It's worth, what I will sort of say is that the January transfer is relatively new for us. You know, back when Steve Evans was manager, which is not that long ago, you could sign loanees essentially throughout the year. So I suppose from that point of view, Mick, we're using a very short sample space, and we had one manager for 6 of those years. So it's quite a small sample size, I suppose, but it is still very, very good.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, to be fair to Steve Evans, he just signed players every other day, didn't he? You know, he just.
If you've got the money, why not?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah. It is. It is, and I suppose it does beg the question: why it hasn't happened the last 2 times we've been in the Championship with our previous manager? Don't know, but look, we know where we are now, and much as I was calling out the manager after Ipswich and Millwall, I've been made to eat humble pie because he's turned it around not only on the pitch but with the help of Rob Scott and the help of Tony Stewart and Paul Douglas and the team behind the scenes. He's also turned it around off the field. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do, a hell of a lot of work to do, but that's not what this podcast is about, is it? It's all about the transfers that have come in and whether they're going to improve us. And hugely impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Josh Inslow's doing a countdown to Quina. We've got 3 minutes, 2 minutes.
So what happens when it goes past 20 to 8 and 20 to 10? Sorry, and bloody hell, what time am I on? So what happens when it goes past 20 to 10 and nothing's happened? Is it then? Oh, it'll be another 8 minutes because it'll be at 10 to.
Then we panic.
Yeah.
The thing is with deadline day, it's all about, you know, the highs and lows of transfers. So if it doesn't happen, that means panic stations. That means we start panicking because it's been a terrible transfer window. Then when it's back on in 5 minutes after, then we're back to the highs of, you know, new signings coming in. It's just up and down. To be fair, that helps us with trying to talk for a couple of hours. That would help us. Yeah. Yeah. We're ready for it to be announced. We're just going to watch it. Just get on with it so we can, you know what I mean?
If there's a scheduled tweet that comes up at 20 to 10, it'll be so funny.
It will be very funny. So
you're Danny, talk about now then, Matt.
I was going to ask Danny if he's had any more notes about any other potential signings.
I saw one that was a little bit ago that was Matt Smith from Arsenal.
Yeah, that's gone quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, so that sort of popped up suddenly. A few people made the Doctor Who joke and then it disappeared. So I'm not sure with that one. But again, if that's another loan, it'll even swell our loan market even more.
I've heard that one was permanent.
Really? Okay, so forget what I've
said. That might be why it's fallen through.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, here we go. There's another one popped.
Another tweet from the club. Breaking news. Tweet from the club.
That one's actually quite good, hey, Hacks? How many total deadline day arrivals do you want? And he's holding up 2 fingers.
Not enough. We need a third.
Maybe the third hasn't transpired then. And if it was the permanent look-see at Matt Smith, then it's sort of understand that.
Yeah, he was a midfielder, which never really panned out. John Morell says, Mick, where is the yellow tie? You've let us down.
I'm representing the club tonight, John, which is why I've got my club tie on. So yeah, I'm not a Sky Sports employee. I am a pundit.
Yeah. Josh was with McNeil from Man U. He had what was his first name? Charlie McNeil. He's gone to Newport. He's gone to League Two. He may very well tear it up in League Two, and to be honest with you, good luck to him. But that's clearly come from nowhere, to be honest with you. If he ended up going to Newport, I don't think that I suggest that maybe there was nothing in that in the first place.
It suggests to me he's not ready for Championship football.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, there were a lot of rumblings about that. But yeah, I agree with Mick. It might have been that he's not ready for Championship football, and Man United want to break him in gently into EFL football with his step up from youth football. Like you say, he could tear it up in League Two because he's torn it up at youth level, absolutely. But if he can transpire that to his time at Newport, they've got one heck of a goal scorer there. But yeah, I just don't think he was ready. I think League Two, see how he gets on, and then potential loan to League One, and maybe even Championship next season.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you never know. We might in League One. Worst case scenario, might actually see him at New York. You never know. Adam Hardcastle said, "Get Alfie to end the season. Why not? He's still scoring goals.
He's still banging him in Australia, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's the lad.
Yeah.
I've just noticed something about the latest tweet from the club, the one with the hacks on it. It's not a new one, Matt. Don't bring the thing up. They've put a very sneaky space after the hashtag RUFC bit, so it doesn't show up. So I think have they done that on purpose so the people who are sat refreshing the feed, like us, haven't seen it unless you've got club notifications turned on?
I think they've just got giddy.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sam Todd with his sausage fingers, that one, isn't it?
He's got pizza in one hand and tweeting with other. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Be interesting if this this next signing, should it arrive, is Giovanni Brown rather than
Mick starting rumours based on absolutely nothing. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
He has been linked with Portsmouth today.
He has been linked with Portsmouth, yeah. But on the flip side of that, Chio's been linked with Millwall.
Yeah, but that's true. I suppose you're right. Yeah,
but Chio's been linked with Millwall, Swansea, and Middlesbrough.
However, what I would say, and I might be made to eat these words because it's not 11 o'clock, he's a Rotherham United player. And if we'd have had this conversation the 1st of January and would have been told, come the end of this transfer window, Chidozie Ogbeni will still be a Rotherham United player, I don't think any of us would have been disappointed with that, would we? You know,
oh God, no.
It's absolutely fantastic. And that gives us another 18 games, 6 months to try and get him to put pen to paper for a new deal.
Have you seen this? There's a couple of tweets on Twitter, and I don't know if there's anything behind this. There's a couple of tweets on Twitter suggesting that he may have agreed to an extension. Now, there may be nothing in this, but it's always good to get a little bit excited. It's deadline day. Start getting excited, and then in a minute we'll get upset because as I've explained, that's what happens.
Imagine, right? Just picture this. I don't think this will happen because it's a little bit too perfect for this to happen, right? But if we get Domingos Quina at 10 o'clock, for example, and the club waits until 11 o'clock and then goes, "We're not done yet," and then goes, I don't know, whoever's left on loan. But then they wait until 11:30 and then just go, "But wait, there's more." And then they announce Chio's signed an X amount of years new contract. That might just be a little bit too perfect to happen tonight. But imagine.
I mean, you said perfect, Danny, but if you think I'm going to be sat on here on YouTube jabbering away still at 11:30 tonight, think again, pal.
I'm more thinking about the people who've gone, right, day's done. We've announced that loan going out at 11 o'clock. I can go back to bed, and they're just settling in bed, reading the book or watching TikTok or whatever. And then suddenly, but wait, there's more. And then there's the mass panic of what else is there. It'd be perfect from an admin's point of view, anyway.
It would. I mean, they'd have the time of life, wouldn't they?
They'd have a field day.
Yeah. A couple of things about Derby, but that's fine. Now, J Boy says, breaking news: Miller Bear gets a new drum on a 3-year deal. Yeah. It's still nothing news, but the delay worries you sometimes. I'm surprised Watford have not tweeted anything about him coming back. Do you know about the recall?
I mean, to be fair, with Fosu, we didn't get anything from Brentford until he'd actually
Watford
already signed.
announced it.
Oh,
Bear with me.
It's like a thing out of Dad's Army. Nobody panic. Nobody
Watford have
panic.
announced it. Watford's official Twitter account have announced that Domingos Quina has joined Rotherham United on a season-long loan from Elche after being recalled by the Hornets. So can we bring up the breaking news? Quina has signed, or do we need to wait for it to be announced by us?
I think that's as near as damn it, isn't it, lads?
It's good for me. Yeah.
Well, hey.
So whilst in the interest of our trying to build a good relationship with the club and get more sort of get closer to them so we can get a bit more information from them. What you're trying to do now is announce a new signing before the club does. I mean, it's obviously going to work.
I mean, I don't work for Watford.
Based on the colours that are on the screen, Matthew, apparently you do.
It does look like Watford.
As if we've announced a signing before the club's tweeted it out. Good grief, that's new.
Sorry.
Oh dear.
I hope that they've not gone to too much. You know, there's not one of them Burnley type Twitter videos lined up, and Watford have just done them. There we go. Special delivery announced by Rotherham United. Very good.
Oh, just beat him to it. I
Like
wonder if they've got the podcast on a big telly in the staff room and they've seen us announce it. And
that's why they just tweeted it straight away after. Oh,
yeah.
On it.
Oh, as if that's actually happened. That's insane. What have I got to drink to celebrate?
That's not that Watford.
I'm not having that vanilla vodka. That's dangerous. Apple Tango. That'll do.
We've been waiting for... How long are we doing this for now? 3 years. We've been waiting for 3 years to do a podcast where breaking news actually happens, and we then accidentally break it before the club do.
Yes.
There we go. Nick, over the line, never really in doubt, I suppose, was it?
Never in doubt, mate. I have no doubt whatsoever. It's an exciting one for me. It's probably more exciting, the most exciting one out of the whole lot, I think. That's my view. Whether that turns out to be the case, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's the cherry on the top, innit?
Mm.
Can I just say the club's announcement video is actually really good?
It is pretty good.
It is, yeah.
That is really good. Although, right, I do have one bone to pick with this announcement video. If
anybody club's watching, you might want to switch off.
I have one bone to pick. Now. Right. It's quite clearly not a Domino's pizza box. Bear in mind, you can see the paper flap. Is they open it? I mean, lads, I get what you're trying to do, and it's very clever. But you should have bought your Domino's pizza, put that to one side on a plate or whatever, and gone, actually, we can use this. Because I think that's a box that you put A4 sheets of paper in for a printer.
Bear with me, I'll get back. I will just look at the pictures that they tweeted out of him. They've tweeted the picture tweeted out of him is going up against Lewandowski. Yeah.
I'm looking too deep into this one, Danny.
He is right, though.
I like it, though. I respect the effort. That's what I'm saying. I respect the effort and the idea. Yeah,
I respect it. I like it. The thing is that this is the one that we're probably certain of. The Bailey Wright one's happened quite quickly. This was happening for weeks and weeks and weeks. And, look, he's in. Power my UK says Tony wouldn't spring for the pizza.
Yeah. I should think he won't be skint now after this January.
He will.
He's done what he promised.
Yeah. Well, Nicholas Skidmore says, massive thank you to Tony for putting his hand in his pocket, shocking us all with the window. Taylor has been backed as promised by Tony. It was promised he was going to be back to Danny, and then promised at the beginning of January that there's no money, it's all free transfers, etc. And then we do pull out some. Yeah, we hadn't spent much money up front with the loan fees, etc. Put massive credit to the club. Massive credit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we said weeks and weeks ago we filled the window open. We're going to need a massive January. to effectively plug the holes and effectively sort the squad out. And I think we've done just that. I mean, I secretly think Tony Stewart watches the podcast when he has his cigar and his whiskey in an evening.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Thank you for listening. But yeah, it's like that. Everybody could see the issue, including the club itself, and went, right, we need to act on that. We need to do it in a big way. Taylor's gone to Tony, told him the issue, identified it, and effectively sorted it. All right, we had a little issue pop up with Morrison's potential injury. Like, we don't know the extent of that completely yet. But then we've even acted on that and then brought in, Bailey Wright, who's a fantastic addition in himself. But on top of that, we've got Morrison at some point as well. So, yeah, it's been huge, and fair play to the club for this window. I mean, some of these players won't be on cheap wages, even though they've come on free. Like, Morrison's come on a free, and it's a deal until the end of the season, but he won't be here for cheap.
Yeah.
Bailey Wright, I imagine, will be on some fairly big wages at Sunderland, so we may have paid a substantial whack of that. Same with Quina at Watford, maybe even Helder at Leeds. Even though he's 19, it will be on a fair whack, I think, at Leeds. So, yeah, fair play to the club for pulling the finger out and acting on what needed to be done and really staying up this season a really good bash. And I think we are in a really strong position to do that now.
Yeah, we are. We will wait for the club to tell us there's going to be no business. They normally do, to be fair. I'm hoping we get to it in the next 5 minutes and we can go bed. Man. All this excitement's got me tired. Adrock says, I was a big critic of Tony Stewart, but he might have realised stopping in the Championship is worth more than relegation. Well done. Possibly. Let's hope so. YouTube viewers just say it's 2-0 loans for him, which I do agree with. There are issues there.
It's short term. You've got to look short term as well as into the longer term. And the short term, like I said earlier on, is staying in this league. And we've more than equipped ourselves to do that now. Still got to do it, but we've given ourselves the tools, or we've added to the tools that we've already got.
Yeah,
so,
we may or may not be done in terms of transfers. We always get bits of information. There may or may not be something. The club may or may not be trying for signings. We don't know. We hope. Get it done soon, club. Come on. Let's not mess around. I don't have any names to give you, but hoping there is. Danny, this is what you were on the last podcast. So while we've got 5 minutes for something that's happening, you're going to give us your sort of Dan Barlaser farewells and your sort of thoughts on the move. This is the big outgoing of the window. We're rounding up the transfer window. I suppose this is what we should talk about really. He's gone. Seen him he's wearing number 7. Borough. As a man who likes his squad numbers, not convinced I like it, but it's better than wearing something like number 2, so I don't mind completely. Just your thoughts on it, because he was a great player for us.
Yeah, it was. Mellis was a great player. We put out messages to him when it was official that he'd gone and got some class responses from him as well. And his family has said that the outpouring of support that he's received at his time at the Millers and in him leaving the Millers has actually been quite overwhelming, which just to show how much we highly respected Barlaser, both as a footballer and as a person. I think I was actually quite upset to know that he was officially going, because as some people know, I worked at Roundwood during the summer, just on the golf course, and Barlaser was the one player who every time we saw each other, we'd wave to each other. And he offered me a night out in Gillingham in Wickersley after the Gillingham game as well. Hopefully we can get him on the podcast sometime. Wait for the dust to settle at Middlesbrough, I think. Get him back on the podcast. Might even get Alison back on as well. They could talk to us about the ins and outs of player transfers, not like how much he's on or anything like that, but the ins and outs of what families go through and what players go through, and the unseen stresses and behind the scenes stuff that happen, without giving too much away. But yeah, he's been great for us. Class player all over the pitch. I remember his Accrington goal with fond memories, but how he just swung his leg at it and it went in. and the goal at Cambridge as well, because I got the entire build-up live on the vlog, and then it turned out he watched it as well. So that was class.
Apparently, Danny, he watches the post-match analysis as well.
Oh, so he saw the car crash that happened on the last one.
The car crash that happened in the
Oh, dear. Well, I say car crash, it were a bump at best.
I mean, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Most of them are a car crash. That just happened to have an actual car crash in it, didn't it?
True.
Yeah, but yeah, all the best to him at Borough. All the best to him. Destined for Premier League football, I think.
Yeah. The tweet says, and it's point out the comments, the signing loan capture of Quina completes January's incomings. January incomings. So that does suggest we are done. Doesn't say there's a chance of outgoings potentially. If someone like Tom Eaves went out, Mick, would that be the end of the world if we didn't replace him?
No, I don't think it would, because we have. Or we've got somebody in who can do the same job, or who does the same job, and who Tom Eaves is going to be competing with in Hugel. So I don't think it would. Tom Eaves needs some game time. There's definitely a player in there. Whether he's a championship player is another matter, but there's definitely a player in there. But he needs the game time, and he's not getting it through injury mainly. So his return here has not been successful in any way, but that's due to injury more than anything else. It wouldn't have been a bad thing for him to go out, but that's obviously not going to happen now. He's here. He's going to have to compete for his place. But obviously Georgie's back in training as well, and Georgie's got a lot more to offer. I'm sure of that. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. And that's what you need. You need competition for places, because it obviously drives the players on and makes them strive to be better. So it's there would appear to be competition all over the pitch now, rather than just competition in defence, which is what we had 4 weeks ago. A squad full of defenders and a couple of strikers. So it's great way to finish off the transfer window for me.
If it is finished off, you never know. As Shelley said, I wouldn't trust the Twitter admin. They've had us on all day. We're trying on to 11. Yeah, potentially.
Have you got nothing better to do with your life, Shelley?
To be the Twitter admins have had us absolutely on strings for the whole window.
They've had a good window. They've had a very, very good window, to be fair.
Yeah.
Had a very good season.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fair. Andy Wignall says 2 Barnsley fans just contacted him saying it's a good signing, a quality player, Quina. IFC have the Bolton rumours for Eaves died off. Yes, they have. I think Bolton signed the guy who everybody were upset that we didn't try signing from Burton. He's gone to Bolton. Adebayo? It's not right, is it? So I can't remember his name now.
No, I can't. It's something like that, isn't it?
You're from Burton. Everybody knows me because Wigan were going to sign him, Wigan didn't sign him. And obviously he's gone. He stayed in League One, so again, not. We know what these things are, Mick, but we as fans we need to stop getting upset when we don't sign a player that one person's mentioned. We're always going to do it because that's how football fans are, but we need to learn to get better at it, I suppose, don't we?
I think we do, yeah. But we've had bad experiences in the past, haven't we? As Rotherham United supporters throughout the years, we've got excited about signings who've turned out to be absolute dogs. So the other part of it, social media accentuates it, doesn't it? And like we had last season with Cole Stockton, everybody in the grandma was saying that Cole Stockton should have been coming to Rotherham United, and I don't think he's. We couldn't hit a bull's arse with a shovel this season, could it? It would have been a bad signing,
as it turned out.
So leave it to the people who know what they're doing, and Rob Scott is one of those people. And obviously, in tandem with Matt Taylor and John Hill, they've come up trumps this transfer window. So let's be happy with it, and let's get down to New York Stadium on Saturday and give it some stick.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll bring you any news we sort of get of who potentially there's rumours and talks we may not be done. These are all just sort of minor things. There's no names given yet. We will give you what we can when we can. I don't want to be stuck on for a while, but if it means waiting for another signing, that's what deadline day is all about, really. Remember back in the day that when we signed Becchio and Clark Harris on deadline day, that was after the deadline, I think. That was 2014. No, it can't have been because we're on championship.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So 2014, 2015, we signed them after. I think it was 11 o'clock or midnight deadline. Signed those after it. I also think we signed Lee Camp once after the deadline as well, but that was a 5 o'clock deadline, I think, at the time. Yeah, we're gonna find something else to talk about. You watched Last of Us yet?
Of all the things to bring up, that's brilliant.
I suspect that, bearing in mind the club said that concludes our incoming. I think that probably concludes the incomings.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The club have tweeted out something else. My manager Matt Taylor discussed his final January edition.
There's a lot of talk of like final incoming, final edition. Although it does say January.
I'm not waiting.
So if we get it done, but the announcement doesn't happen until after midnight, because you can apply for extensions, can't you? You can apply for that hour extension.
You've got to submit notifications of intent or something like that. It's really stupidly complicated.
But if that happened, for example, if we bring a player in and it's in the works, but we know we're not going to get it done by 11 o'clock, if we apply for that extension, get it done, and then announce it, it will be announced technically in February.
Yes.
I'm just saying, hypothetically, that could still be the case. And if that's the case, I'm going to have a very short amount of sleep tonight.
I'm trying to get my head around in what world a club is going to announce a new signing after midnight.
If the extension comes into play.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even so. But listen, we're Rotherham United. We're not Man United or Liverpool. We're fans all around the world. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Be satisfied. You young guns, you're all the same.
Mick, I'm very satisfied. I am very satisfied with this January business. But like they're saying, there's a lot of mention of January editions, January incoming on both tweets. If it says final edition of deadline day or final edition of this transfer window, then I'd be quite happy just to go, right, we've done, I'm going to go to bed. But it keeps mentioning January editions, January incomes. It's like, hypothetically, we could still be in February and get one.
Could be, yeah. It's going to be interesting, as a lot of people mentioned in the comments, that I'm sorry, I've just seen Wayne Hinchcliffe's comment. Which I know Matt's not going to put up, but I am. Matt looks like Jim White. If Jim White was slowly turning into a sausage.
It's funny, because Matt, I've been told you look a bit like a Lib Dem MP.
I don't have to take that.
I think it's the colours.
All right, okay, maybe, yeah.
So there's another tweet from the club saying it's been some January transfer window, hasn't it, Millers fans? Are we happy with 7 new recruits?
No, we want 8.
Well, that's easy if I've ever seen one. Isn't it?
Yeah.
If you weren't going to sign anybody, you'd just say that's all, folks. And if you look at the picture they've tweeted of Cohen Bramall.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that doesn't help, does it? It doesn't help in my quest to go to bed.
Right.
Just want to know.
Right. Someone I can't remember who, but someone put that that picture in the comments of a post earlier, saying Toddy looking at All's lot, wanting All's lot refreshing the feeds.
Yes, they did.
So they've now used that picture.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Here we are at nearly 10 past 10 on a Tuesday night.
They've got us on strings again, lads. It's happened again. To quote Jesse from Breaking Bad, he can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah.
1 a.m. podcast from Power Mad UK. Absolutely not. I will be in my pajamas by that point.
Some of us have got work tomorrow.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm an unemployed student, so I don't. Hooray!
Yeah, and as Carl Scott says the emoji on the first emoji on that tweet as well is a massive suggestion that they're not done.
You watch it'll be alone going out at 11 o'clock, guaranteed.
The one you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Tom Eves goes to Bolton or something like that. Yeah. Jake Snick Gaming. Hey everybody, hope you're having a good day. Absolutely buzzing, but gutted at the same time. Hope we're all well. Yeah, especially swimming pool done it better than last transfer window when Note came through. That is very, very true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If we get somebody in, Mick, what position are you looking for? So let's talk about that. We will talk about what we do. I see people talking about the lineup for Saturday. We'll leave that because we're obviously going to do a preview of Saturday on Thursday, and we need to leave something to talk about. So we'll do the sort of the lineup prediction for Saturday on Thursday night's episode 5 Friday morning for the podcast. By the way, we've been in an hour. If you haven't already subscribed, please click the subscribe button. We'll get that in there while we can because we're here. So if we're going to get if Mick, if there's somebody on the horizon, what position does it need to be?
It needs to be up front. It needs to be up front, doesn't it? Let's be fair. We're more than comfortable across the back, and arguably, and I know we could have this argument, but we were comfortable about probably before the transfer window. We just made some more quality additions. We've lost Dan Barlaser from that midfield, which is a massive blow to us. However, we've added some more quality in there with experience as well. So it really is the front striking positions that we need to be adding to. If there were to be anyone else, that's where I would hope that would be. We are light up there. You know, you've got Connor Washington, who is an absolute workhorse, but he's not a clinical goal scorer, is he? No. He will get the goals, but that's not necessarily his prime role up there. Tom Eves is injured, and this season at least has been made of glass. You know, he plays a couple of games and gets injured again. Likewise with Georgie Kelly. Georgie Kelly, the Georgie Kelly injury situation is a bit of a worry for me. You know, he's not had any sort of a run, and I do question whether or not he ever will. Just simply because of the injuries that he's had, and is he just susceptible to them? Listen, I'll settle for 3 or 4 games a season from Georgie Kelly if he comes on and does a Gillingham every time. You know, because his goal per minute ratio must be right up there with the best, and he scores crucial goals. So and that kind of leaves us. That's about it. Obviously, Jordan Hugel has come in, so that he's there with the quality and the experience. Somebody else to sit alongside that would be fantastic. That would make it. As Power Mad said earlier on, I think I mentioned the cherry on top, and he wanted the icing. that would be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? Who knows?
Not to go into this, but you wouldn't put the cherry on and then the icing, would you?
Well, you could just sprinkle a bit of icing sugar on top just to.
I'll accept that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we've
all just checked the scores. Sorry.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. What's up?
I didn't. From Wayne Hinchliffe, I didn't know Middlesbrough had signed Aaron Ramsey.
Not that Aaron Ramsey.
Oh, they did.
It's
the
the Villa one.
I thought proper Aaron Ramsey retired.
Is he not playing in France?
Yeah, the Welsh Aaron Ramsey's. If there's somebody else going to, I can't remember which one. It's Nice or something like that. I can't remember.
Ross Barkley and Aaron Ramsey are both playing at the same side. I can't remember which team it is now.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is now. Yeah. Well, there's that Jed Spencer's gone as well, hasn't he? He's going to Rems. So there's clearly picking some up.
Yeah.
Paramount UK says he wants the sprinkles now. I have the cherry and the icing.
Listen, I'm with you. I'm with you, mate. I'm there.
Mark Gamble's young Aaron Ramsey, not the death curse one. That's the easiest way to remember it. Donna says, "Are we stay up till 11 then, or what?" I mean, we'll stay up until we get either 11 o'clock or confirmation from the club that they're done. That's what we're really waiting for. Because the last thing we want to do is sign off and then we sign somebody. Because once the tie comes off, it's not coming back on.
No. And Shelley giving a bit of holiday advice there, saying it's nice in France. So.
Oh, mate, that's a proper dad joke. I love that.
It is very much a dad joke. Another one. Where's it gone? Let's talk about midfield replacements. Chile says, if Connor Coventry wasn't the replacement of Barlaser, is Quinea the one they're referring to, do we think? Or, Danny, is a slight change in how we're going to play? Because how we have played is realistically protect Dan Barlaser and he'll play the ball around. He'll do X, Y, and Z. There may be a different way of playing because I think Quinea seems a bit more mobile than Dan Barlaser. And also sat very deep. I'm not saying he's slow, but we didn't ask him to do that role. The clips you see of Quinea are much more energetic, much more mobile. So it could very well be we'll see a different type of midfield going forward.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, like you say, we normally saw. I think Mitch's just gone to the toilet. Fair enough.
Probably. He's an old man, bless him.
But yeah, as you say, Barlas used to get protected by the two midfielders in front of him. But if we switch it round, then it's just a different way to play, and we've got the option now. You could play with Quinea being a bit more of the predator behind the strikers, if you like. Which we saw from the clips at Barnsley, he likes to do that. But we've also still got the defensive option in Coventry and Odoffin as well, if we decide to play him there. I think it's just having multiple ways to play. It's not always going to be a linear approach of we are now going to play 4-3-3. Yeah. It just lets us shake it up a bit. We could still drop back to 3 at the back if we wanted to. We could play maybe even a 5 in midfield. Or we can carry on with the more sort of winger attacking base 4-3-3. It just gives us more options to work with, which I think in the Championship you need. You can't be too linear. Like, for example, when we played 4-5-1 more or less all the time, it became very predictable.
Yeah.
But if you have the options to play different ways without shuffling your cards too much, then it can only be a positive, in my opinion.
Yeah. Fernand Jones says, it's already 11:15 in Denmark. I'm falling asleep. Can we call it a night? We think there is something trying to be worked on. Again, we as you can imagine, we're not giving up-to-date information, but the information that we've been given is there is an attempt at something else happening.
Yeah, we've not hid it very well, though, have we? Let's be real. Bear in mind we've been having our heads down like this at our phones.
Taking a photo of it. Feel like they're idiots on Sky. When them two main guys on Sky Sports News, they just have the phones out reading text from other people. That's what they are. They get paid much more to do it than we do. I mean,
when you're in the Sky Sports studio and you have the teleprompter that someone is paid to research these things, then it's like, oh, my pal at such and such tells me. I mean, that's us effectively. We've got a few DMs and messages here and there about this signing, I've got a few people messaging me saying, "What do you know?" And then one of them who thinks he knows the same as me, and it's like, something could be afoot.
Yeah, I got a comments from you. Where has it gone? It was a good one. Apologies, somebody. I'm gonna have to find it because it tickled me. I can't find it now. But anyway, the comment was.
Oh, is it the one from Wayne Hinchcliffe?
No, it was one about the putting off going to bed because of the facial expressions of Cohen Bramall. Yeah. Waiting for someone trivia time. What did Jason Punchin and Mick have in common? So about some toilet joke in there.
Come to you, Wayne. Don't you worry about that, Paul.
Good old Wayne. Yeah. Donna says she's excited. Even if we are done, it's great. But if not, yeah. Just get on with it, football club. Rotherham United. Nothing's ever easy. You know what I mean? Whether it's on the pitch, going down to the last day, or whether it's a transfer, it's never just easy. But again, it's a positive. If this is true that we're trying to get something over the line in the next 45 minutes, then it's in a way it's good news because they're not giving up. They want to get the best players they possibly can in the limited time they've got. So from that point of view, it is a positive.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that we're sat here at this time on transfer deadline day, wondering whether we're finished. I'm gobsmacked, and it's a fantastic place to be, really, and it just shows that the club's developing, isn't it? You know, it's developing into a proper football club, and it has never been up there with the most professionally run clubs. You know, it's been run in the past with a bit of passion and a bit of I don't know what, just a bit of desire. But now it's been run professionally as a business and as like a lot of other clubs have been successful clubs. So it's great. It's fantastic, and maybe, just maybe, we might find ourselves with another player coming in. Get on with it if that's going to happen, because I want to go to bed. School night, for God's sake.
Well, I've set a timer. We've got 40 minutes and 51 seconds to possibly get us.
Is there any way of putting that on the live show?
Oh, it is right, yeah.
Is there any way of putting an actual timer on the screen so everybody else know how long is left? I mean, I'm sure everybody's got deadline day special on the tellies anyway, but, you know.
I assume most people have got a clock as well, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's not a countdown to 11 o'clock, is it?
It seems to be pretty common in houses nowadays, I'm led to believe.
Hey, mate, you'll be surprised to know that in some houses they don't have landlines these days.
I haven't.
I do. But yeah, Matt, you know, we had the Lib Dem joke earlier. We've got one for Mick from the same source, which is my mate Carly. Same source. So Carly says you look like Mr. Gilbert out of the In-Betweeners.
I'm assuming that's an insult. Never watched it, so I'm assuming it's an insult. Okay.
I like Mr. Gilbert's character in Betweeners.
That's what, sorry?
I can't believe you never watched In-Betweeners.
No, I don't know.
Don't understand. Correct. That's strange, that mate. I will try and work on getting a countdown timer on the screen. I mean, it's not at the end of the world if we don't get one on. We should. These are the types of things we should have worked out before. Mick, you know how to do this. You did when we did the watch-alongs. You arranged clocks on the screens.
Yeah, I did. I did it through some different software though. So, which I don't have access to. So sorry about that, but you know.
Right, well, sorry everybody. Get transfer deadline thing on your tellies or something. Or set one on your phone.
Could do that. No, we'll leave that. It's not working. Never mind. Anyway, it's 40 minutes. Less than 40 minutes now.
And I think it's my turn for a wee. So
too much information there, Danny. I never told anybody where I went.
I'm a very open person, mate, or at least I attempt to be.
Yeah, thanks for that.
At least I'm muting my microphone for you. Thank me for that.
It's still your phone going off. Shelley RC, nice hypothetical. Suppose if Ben Wiles was fit, or does he get in the current lot? Now, there's always a chance, Mick, that Ben Wiles will be back before the end of the season. I think that's slim chances, but we can hope. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, because he's not been around for a while, it kind of slips out your mind in terms of being available. Because obviously he's not at the moment, but he will be, and he is a quality player. And the players that we've brought in so far are going to have to guss some to be of the level that Ben Wiles can be at. So that just adds even more quality in there. It's a great time to be a Miller at the moment.
Yeah.
On paper, obviously they're still got to turn it in on the grass, and that's down to the manager to be able to do that. But when you consider that Ben Wiles is not fit, is out possibly for the season, and we're probably looking at not missing him, that is a hell of a place to be. A hell of a place to be. So yeah, it's sad for Ben, but I'm not particularly concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. Donna says we weren't seeing this last week. We
weren't. No, we weren't. But to be fair, once Ben did get injured, that's when the change in style came around as well. They kind of coincided.
Did he get injured? It was Bristol City game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. So that the change in style had already happened then, because I mean that we were dire in that game as well, weren't we? But so. Yeah, we're a long way from where we were then. It feels.
Yeah, it does. Then let's talk about what these signs mean for other players. If we talk about Jim Williams on the other podcast, which I suppose we can maybe talk about in a minute as well. But Kima Doffin has come in over the last few weeks and been almost a brand new signing. He's been a sensation in the Blackburn game and the Watford game. This could again see him drop out of the team again, which would be a crying shame because of how good he's been. But if you're getting players who are better, then it's got to drop out. But you've got to feel a bit sorry for him if he does drop out because of new signings.
Yeah, definitely. And just at a time where we thought he was cracking on as well. But we have to remember, under the last regime, a lot of people crying out for him to go out on loan because they thought the midfield was really strong. But we could be one injury away from calling on Doffin again, and he can play centre-back if needs be. He can play a bit more of the Ajayi sort of role in midfield as well, but he's also very comfortable in a flat midfield. But again, he's one of them players where he can fit into a system if you're trying to operate different ways and keep it unpredictable. So I think he will be a good player to have around. But yeah, seeing a defensive mid come in and then another midfielder come in, you have to wonder if a Doffin's there thinking, where am I going to fit into all this? But at the same time, Taylor's not said, I want you to move out on loan because there's not going to be opportunities here for you. So, I'm sure he's bought into the idea, and he will still be here in the summer as well when your likes of Coventry move back to West Ham and Quina go back to Watford. So maybe that's when he'll get his chance to shine, or that's when he steps up in that little defensive midfielder role now. Barlas has gone.
Yeah. Shall I see how many loan players can you play in a starting 11? 5. If this new signing that we may or may not make in the next 34 minutes and 23 seconds, that will be an issue because you'll have 7. You'll have 7 loanees, which means 2 every single week. 2 loanees will miss out, which is not ideal. But then you're 2 injuries away from it not being a problem, because then you've got 2 loanee injuries and then you can play all 5. Look, I'm sure if Matt Taylor could have done, he would have signed all these on permanence, or already signed similar players on permanence. The January window is notoriously difficult to sign players if you're not Manchester City, or other players altogether. They have some issues as well. Like Mick says, this is where we are as a football club. This is where a lot of football clubs are nowadays in January. It's not ideal, Mick, but that's life.
It is. It is, and like I said to you, and I keep saying, we had the quality before. You know, there are lots of people putting the teams up for the weekend, and I know that we're going to talk about that on Thursday. I don't think anybody's mentioned Kyoso yet.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he's a hell of a player, an absolute belter of a player. So there's quality, and he's not getting a look in at the moment. So that, you know, you talked about a Dauphin, and Kyoso fits that bill as well. As is Wes Harding going to do by the looks of it. He may be on his way at the end of the season. We'll have to wait and see if he's not signed a new deal by the sounds of it. So his deal will run out in the summer, but that's not to say he won't re-sign then. So he's still with us, and he's a quality championship footballer. So, you know, there's quality all over the pitch, at a higher level than we've ever had, I think, while we've been in the championship. You know, and this all started with Victor signing a new deal.
Well, this month as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, at a time when we were probably at, as supporters, one of our lowest ebbs for a few years, or I certainly was, because I felt we were just spiraling out of control because of the way that we were playing. And a month later, here we are, looking completely in the opposite direction. Not only because of the way we've changed, the way we've improved on the pitch, but also the way the personnel have improved and the backing that the chairman's given us. It's just everything has turned on its head. So it's things are looking up. Things really are looking up. I believe it.
I know. I decided we look like a people at a wedding. You're just incredibly smart, mix your father and a bride or something like that. I'm
been there, done that, got that t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm just nobody's important, but I'm there. I've been there all day, and Yanni's dressed like he's turned up at night. Do so. There's a flow and a thought to all this. Everybody Yanni thinks we just put all this together. There's not. There's a thought to it all.
Yeah. You look like best man at 10:30 at night, man. That's what you look like.
Yeah. Carl Scott, 30 minutes until Chio is locked up. Well, 30 minutes until Chio's let out. You know, so Chio allowed him to use the hands again, so we can't make sure he can't sign anything for the next half an hour.
Yeah. Maybe they sent Chio out for pizzas.
Possibly, yeah.
Get yourself out, get pizzas picked up.
Yeah. Ben Sharp says here, surely it's the end for Richard Wood. He ran out of steam come October. Will be vital in the dressing room. Be good to see him step into a coaching role in the summer. I mean, the signs we've made, Danny, don't really kick Woody out completely, do they? I mean, the system doesn't particularly suit him. But Sean Morrison's injured, so we can forget about an extra defender. We ain't got an extra defender. We've just got a replacement in. Do you agree with that, or do you think it is the end for Woody?
I'm not sure, if I'm being honest, because obviously Woody can still do a job. We have seen that he has come on later in games to shore up the defence as well. But he definitely suits more of a 3 at the back system, doesn't he? We've seen him before with 2 at the back, and he's been a bit. But yeah, I'm not sure with Woody. He still has a role to play, but he just depends on what happens in the summer, I think, now with Woody. Whether he still has a job to do, not sure. He's definitely still a leader in the dressing room, that is for sure. He might end up being some sort of, I've said this before, some sort of Billy Sharp character. But yeah, I'm just not sure.
I thought was tweeted out about the recruitment team, about 7 players. Basically, mentioned, can we get a huge round of applause to our recruitment team who've worked around the clock to bring us no fewer than 7 January signings? Agreed. Completely agree. We've already mentioned this, but we will mention it again. They've done a great job so far. Well, they've done their job, Danny, I suppose. The recruitment team have done their job. It's now down to Matt Taylor and the players to sort of finish it. He's been given all the tools he could possibly want, I would have thought.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And yeah, like the club say, a huge round of applause for the recruitment team. They have worked very, very hard. We've said that it's notoriously hard to sign players in January. So for them to put at least 7 options in front of the manager and then to get that done, it's fantastic work. I mean, the amount of trawling through different positions, different play styles, different egos potentially as well, and narrow it down to those players and then to do that at least 7 times, very, very good. Like, can you just imagine how many player profiles they've had to trawl through to get like the top options and then have backup options at the same time? How much analysis has had to go into it? How much scouting has had to go into it? Like, fair play to them. And it's only a small team as well. Some clubs have an entire office full of people doing this job. But we've, at least from that picture, we've got 4 lads doing it and we've put in a proper good shift.
IOC 19 says Rob Scott is the heart and soul of the club, and more credit to him, Mick, is he could very easily have gone to Derby. We know that the previous manager went there. We also know that Derby essentially have recruited a new head of recruitment. That could very well, Rob Scott could have been a guy that applied for it and could have gone to work with his mate again, but he's not done that. It was one of the members of staff that put his head above the parapet when the previous manager left. He was out there talking publicly, talking really, really well as well. On the podcast, we couldn't speak highly enough of Rob Scott at the time, and we're now sort of hopefully seeing what he's got from the playing side of things as well.
Are we seeing what he's actually capable of now? Now he's got a different manager to work with. I wouldn't call Paul Warne out at all, but he clearly had that's £2. Yeah, that's £1 in it. So I can mention him again for me £2. So I wouldn't call him out at all. However, the first transfer window that comes along when he's not here, he's pulled all these rabbits out of the hat.
Yeah.
So maybe the criteria that was put in place by the previous management team was restrictive, too restrictive, and maybe he didn't want to go and continue under those sorts of restrictions. And like I said, the first transfer window that we get with a new team in place, and there have been some rabbits pulled out of the hat, haven't they?
Yeah, and Matt Tiller said it's one of the best recruitment teams he's worked with. He's only been ex-to as a manager, but he's played at many I imagine he would have insight on recruitment teams. He couldn't have spoke highly enough of it. He didn't just say they're very, very good. He was so positive about them all.
Hugely professional. And then, to be fair, you wouldn't. Having seen Rob Scott as a player, I wouldn't expect anything less. He's a type. He strikes me, and I don't know the bloke, but he strikes me as a type of bloke who, when he commits to something, he commits 100%. Yeah, and we are certainly reaping the benefits of that at the moment.
Yeah, like Carnell says, everybody's saying what a good January we've had. It is big, but how many new players have we got? Just hope it all clicks. Yeah, and again, that's down to Matt Taylor. I think it's good. It's good that we didn't play Saturday. I think that's really, really good because it's allowed Matt Taylor essentially a couple of weeks, essentially with almost new players. I know Connor Coventry signed late last week, but that's still a week with him. Quina, we think, is slightly injured, so that's an issue. But that means he's got more time at the club to sort of talk to the players, learn the players and how they work and things like that. I think that's really good. Captain Danny Reece Kellogg says now Barlas has gone and Wood is not playing as much. And Ben Wiles is injured. Who takes the armband? Shelley RC says Victor. Somebody else put Rathbone. Carl Scott says Rathbone. Difficult, isn't it? Sean Morrison would have been the obvious one because he has been a captain. I know he's new, but I would have thought you could still lean on him for that kind of thing. There's not much else. There's nothing obvious anyway.
Peltier, maybe.
Peltier might not be a bad shout, yeah.
I mean, I do like the idea of Rathbone being captain because I've seen a few people say that he is a captain in waiting. So yeah, could be Rathbone. would you really want a striker being captain? One who's just arrived at the club. Hugo, for example, probably not.
How would you care? I'd make Benny captain.
Yeah.
Now we mentioned about him potentially signing the rumours of a new contract.
Yeah, that's...
We'll make you captain if you sign a deal.
Yeah, potentially.
Just making this up as we go along. Michael Carnell says, to me, keepers should not be captains. Possibly. But at the same time, Mick, there's been some amazing keepers as captain. Oliver Kahn, Germany keeper and captain for a very long time, incredibly successful.
Yeah.
There's David Seaman, weren't captain, were he?
Oh, Seaman, no, I don't think so.
Casillas, Ilka Casillas was captain, I think, for Real Madrid.
And then on the other hand, you've got Lloris.
Yeah, Lloris, yeah.
He's a roundabouts,
You don't really support my argument, really.
No, I thought I just had a bit of balance to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a job at BBC.
I mean,
get some balance.
I mean, he is a World Cup winning captain, to be fair.
Yeah.
The thing with captains is it's difficult because you don't want to sort of take away from their performances. If you look at something like Victor, who puts everything into it already, you wonder what a captaincy will do to him, because it can go one of two ways. It can elevate you. It can elevate you to the completely next level, and you become an even better player. But we've seen it in football, and we've seen it especially in other sports where having the captaincy weighs on you like an anchor around your neck. So it's difficult, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, you're obviously alluding to the likes of sports like cricket, where the captaincy is a different ball game to literally a different ball game to a captain in football. Your job on the pitch as a captain essentially should only be to call heads or tails, because there should be enough leaders on the pitch to sort of deal with the rest of the captain's responsibilities on there. So you're not choosing the tactics as you go along like you are in cricket. So it's almost a ceremonial role, or should be, if you've got sufficient players of quality and leadership in your team, which again is something else, another quality that we seem to have signed in this transfer window for certainly some of the players.
Yeah. There's also, I mean, Frecklington, when Frecklington took over captaincy, weren't exactly obvious, were he?
No.
It was a brilliant player, but it wasn't an obvious, you would say, right, he's a captain, and he did an amazing job as club captain.
Yeah, he did, absolutely. He did so much for this club. I'm a massive Lee Frecklington fan.
Yeah. Kevin Baker says, so many difficult choices to be made now with selection. I hope no dummies get thrown out of the pram and the lads who miss out get their heads down and back to work. Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. And John's with us from Sunshine Coast. Look at that, on the school run. What are you saying?
I can't remember.
Oh.
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Great. Okay. Brad C said that the scouting team are already planning to rebuild for next season in the summer when all the loans leave. Yeah, they will. They'll be looking at who's out of contract in summer and, who tried to get a move in January, but the move failed and everything else. Yeah, they will be. We have no news, no tweets, no nothing from the club. What does my countdown time is saying on? 19 minutes, 39 seconds on the clock. Nothing. I don't know whether they're just teasing us or whether there is actually nothing happening. But they normally put some out, don't they? They normally say, this is us done for the window. Have they? Or are we just not reading it? Or are we just not reading it properly?
To be honest with you, my feeling after the reading the tweet with the last announcement was that was it. But then having experienced the way our Twitter admin have run that account, the picture of Cohen Bramall gave me second thoughts, and that made me suspect that there might be more And I'm still of that view, although I'm getting less and less sure myself as the seconds tick by. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Dave Bez in the comments has put it in there saying the club had said that the Quina transfer was the last one. If you read the article, they did, but then they also put another tweet out which suggested that it might not be. So, but we'll see. Who knows? And then we talked earlier on about players who were missing out. Cohen Bramall, there's another one. You know, he's not got a game in the last, much of a run out in the last 2 games, and he's got a lot to offer as a lad. A lot to offer. Again, you know, he would have walked into any one of the teams, the previous Rotherham United Championship sides. He would have walked into it without any question and been one of the first names on the team sheet because of his pace and ability to put a ball into the box. And yet, here we are. He's not really getting a look in. So again, it's just another indication of how we've improved. So we'll see.
Shelley says Ferguson's another one. Played last few games very well. Yeah, before Blackburn game, we were all thinking Fergus time it was just done. And now he's one of the first names on the team sheet. Danny, any news you can bring us? Any rumours you can bring us?
Nothing at the minute, lads. Not heard a peep recently, anyway.
Thought you'd fallen asleep, mate. To be honest.
No, nothing yet.
That's great. We've got 17 minutes to fill. I think it's going to be unlikely, but go on, mate.
I just said you want to sing us a song, man.
You don't want me singing, to be honest with you.
No, that's true. Actually, no.
Danny, you're going to this 10-year anniversary dinner?
I am.
Looking forward to that. Yeah,
that is going to be very exciting. Kev Johnson put out a thing saying he's got a table and wanted to know who was interested. So I'm going to be on a table with me, Millie, Jensen, I believe Donna and her fella are going, and then a couple others who Kev knows as well. So yeah, it should be a very fun evening. Tickets were quite expensive, if I do say so. Yeah. But yeah, should be really, really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to see what the catering's like at New York Stadium these days because it's been a while since I've done hospitality. But also I want to see what they do with the little documentary thing that they've got planned as well. Former players coming in and such. It should be really fun. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose they've got to pay that cost, but yeah, we're 75 quid plus VAT for a ticket. We're a bit steep for many.
Yeah, I think it's obviously aimed at business, isn't it? If you're taking the VAT off, it's clearly aimed at businesses. So they've got to make the money. They've got to bring the money in.
Big time.
And events like that, if they can sell events like that out, again, it's another indication as to the direction that the club is going. Because 20, 30 years ago, we wouldn't have even come close to even, you could have made it £2 a ticket and you wouldn't have sold it out. So it's again just another indication as to the level that we're trying to operate at.
Yeah, it is 100%. It'd be good seeing some of the players who maybe they don't know. We don't know who's going to be there, but we'll do a 10-year special at some point. We've got a bit more when we've got a spare hour, which we did have. We just wasted, I suppose. John Ness says, "Don't go for the cheeseburger." Or maybe, Danny, you might see, or maybe they'll bring in the Bradford fan, with the Steve Evans "You Fat Cheeseburger" sign. I wonder if they can bring him in. That'd be good.
Matt, I've got a message to you from Sam Todd.
From the official Twitter account.
No, it's from Sam himself. It's a personal message to you. It says, "Matt, I'm signing off. Thanks for your company. It's been a blast. Get yourself to bed and rest your dub. Plenty for a sold-out South Yorkshire derby on Saturday."
That's good enough for me.
Aye, that's time.
Right. It's bedtime, everybody. I mean, ties off. We're done. We're done. There's until probably August 31st, unless that's a Sunday. I don't know. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in August, shall we? It's a Thursday, yeah. Oh, Thursday deadline day on a podcast day as well. Perfect. I mean, it's in 8 months, so everybody get ready for that.
Right.
Get ready.
Andre will be getting linked within 8 months' time.
Oh, depends which league we're in. Should we rumor about who we're going to be linked with in 8 months' time, mate?
You could start that, yeah, if you want, but it's you'll be having me drifting off to sleep in about 15 seconds if you start on that game.
Bro. Right. I think any objections to finishing?
Not from me. I think we may have been told to go to bed already once.
You may have been what?
I think we've been told to go to bed already.
Yeah, we have. So thank you everybody for being with us. I hope you enjoyed the Deadline Day special. We will be back. Well, should we change all the colours back? Because Deadline Day is over now. Let's change all the colours back on the screen now. Back to red. There we go. Ooh, I don't like that shit. Hang on. There we go. Close enough. We'll take it. Deadline Day is done. It's been one of the best transfer windows the club's had. Probably the best January transfer the club has ever had. Massive credit to Matt Taylor, Rob Scott, everybody else who have been involved in it. Hopefully these new boys, the ones we haven't seen, hopefully they slot in. And we will be back on Thursday evening, where it will be the South Yorkshire Derby, the first and only home South Yorkshire Derby of this season, with Sheffield United, Premier League bound probably, Sheffield United, coming to New York Stadium. We'll preview, we'll talk about who we think, which one of these players is going to be in, and all sorts of stuff that we can think of and find for Thursday night's episode. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you're on here and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you want to get the audio podcast Thursday, that'll be on Friday morning, please subscribe on there as well. Mick, thank you for being with us for an hour and 46 minutes.
It's your pleasure.
It's been it's like the charity special we did last year almost.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I still have nightmares about that.
Oh, that's it. That 12-hour podcast where I actually have had to go to football training for the charity cup. Yeah.
Anyway, Danny, thank you for being with us as well, and I'll see you Thursday.
See you Thursday. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Ravel, vicious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got around the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to see